What should I do if I have a student who is not doing anything in class, or multiple students that are not doing anything in class? I'm going to talk to you about a student I had this week that is just sits there and plays video games on his phone. So I'll take you through the process and explain to you what I've done. The first thing I would say is if you have several students not on task and playing on their video games, use your seating chart as a classroom management tool. Make sure they have assigned seats and move them around. You'll find, believe it or not, if you've not done it before, when you start moving students around in the middle of the school year, they hate that. It's a great way to motivate them. You can strategically place students next to other students who do their work so that they're separated from their friends. So that's one technique you can use. So this particular student sat up in the front of the class, would sit on his cell phone and just play video games. The second tool I use is that I micromanage my D's and F's. If you have an A, B, or C, I tend to let those students do their thing. But if you have a D or an F, I call you up weekly, if not daily, to my desk and tell those students exactly what they're missing and remind them. It gets to a point where they're like, yeah, Mr. Cole, I know, I need to get this done, I need to get that done. And I'm like, then do it. So I micromanage my D's and F's. This particular student, every day I tell him you need to be doing work. He just sits there and watches videos on his cell phone. So what I did this week is I moved his desk next to my desk. So I said, you know what? You're no longer going to sit over here in the corner and just watch videos. You're going to be in the seat next to mine and to do your work there. Um, and got a little bit of pushback. He was polite about it, but he came and he just started watching videos again. I convinced him through several conversations. I asked him my favorite question, which is, you are in school now. What do I need to do to convince you to do your work? My favorite question to ask students is, how would you manage you? And that was my question to this student. I said, what do I need to do? What can I do to convince you to be successful in my class? And I got an honest answer from him. He's like, I'm a hands-on learner. I don't like doing the vocabulary drawings. I'd rather make something on my 3D printer. I was like, fine. It's like, go home, use your 3D printer, and print up the representations of the vocab words. And he got all excited. At that point, he's like, okay. And he started talking about his 3D printer. I connected with something that is important to him that he likes to do. And that's where we are now. Now, um, when he came back the next day, he's like, "Well, my brother was using my 3D printer, so I couldn't use it." Which, okay, that's fine. But there comes a point where I take it up another notch, which is I start calling parents. I'll call a parent and say, "Hey, your son or daughter is not doing what they're supposed to be doing in class right now. They're not on task. Would you mind either calling them on their cell phone or texting them, encouraging them to be successful in my class?" So that would be my next step. So it's kind of, I go up a notch each time that we don't get to where we need to be. So in this particular case, at first I tried to micromanage the student by telling him each day what he's missing, no impact. Moved him next to my seat, had a good conversation from it, learned that he likes working with his 3D printer and believes he's a hands-on learner. That's fine. After I moved him to that desk and we had that conversation, uh, he did not keep up his end of the bargain. So next step will be a phone call home. And again, I like to be tactful and creative about this. So what I will do is probably call the parent and ask the parent to either call him on his cell phone, and when it rings, I'll smile at him and say it's for you, or text him on his cell phone and then realize make sure the student understands that I'm on the same page as the parent. So these are all different things you can do to motivate a student who does not want to do work. Um, so there comes a point where if neither he or the parents are motivated to do any work, well, at that point, I've exhausted my options. And I'll certainly share that with the student study team that is for this particular student, but that's about as far as you can take it. But you'll find that if you use those interventions, a lot of times you can get students to complete their work. I find that probably 75 to 80% of them actually just reminding them each day what they're missing is enough to get them done. Certainly to moving their assigned seats is an extreme measure, but it also works. These are all things you can do to help encourage a student to do what they need to be doing. If you learned anything from this video, please like it. Have a great school year and keep being a hero. Thanks.